the yellow is out, and pit road is a very busy place as virtually everyone has come in for their pit stop. And look at how Michael Waltrip is getting his tires changed. That car should not be in that particular. And there is the reason why we are under caution. Dale Jarrett has made contact with the wall coming out of turn number 4. The word is that he is okay, and also the word is that he cut a tire.
Yeah, Dale has had a lot of tough luck so far this year. He just can't seem to get things going. He was running in the 16th position. It started 28th and had stayed in the lead draft until just the last couple of laps.
Hardy's team looking for the color combination that they like. Remember, the last race they had a different paint job with a dark blue and orange, and this time the paint scheme is white and orange. And the 94 car is being pushed out of the pit area by the Kodak crew of Rick Wilson.
But now they decided, well, you're on your own now. We pushed as far as we're going to push. And Sterling Marlin still can't get that car fired.
So Marlin sits along pit road, the car just moving very slightly. Now he comes to a complete stop. Don't know what could be the problem with that car. Here comes the Kodak crew once again. Now he gets the thing fired again and begins to move away.
Boy, that's an anxious moment for a driver. He knows that the leaders are going to be coming around and says, please don't let me go a lap down. He had already lost a lot of track position, but now he just wants to stay in the lead lap.
So lap number 39, and the caution is out on Talladega Superspeedway. Dale Jarrett with an incident up in turn number 4, but he's okay, and we'll be right back. Down into the pit area, and Alan Kowicki has positioned his Xerox board in the pit area, and the hood is up.
Yes, I don't know. He was running in that lead draft, Bob, that apparently has some grip. We'll take a look at the crew cam, who is on the right front tire changer of Darrell Waltrip's car. That's Eddie Dickerson. See, it's come around to the left side of the car now.
Looked like they had a bit of a problem there on the right front tire.
One of the lugs apparently didn't start. He had to start it with his finger, and that took an extra second or so.
He missed one of the lug nuts, and he had to start one of them with his hand. And it's amazing. Just that little bit makes a big difference. Jerry punches in the pits.
Well, gentlemen, pretty routine pit stops up here. I'm in the Mark Martin pit. They had a lot of problem getting the car to handle. They were going to come in, and as most cars want to do, change only 2 tires to maintain track position. The only major change up here was the Neil Bonnet pit, was just pitting right beside the Mark Martin pit. Neil Bonnet went from Goodyear to Hoosier. Therefore, he had to change 4 tires to try to tighten the car down. But a big problem here in the pits was a stop-and-go penalty. After the cars exited pit road, they went above the white line, and they were black flagged and brought back in. Among those, Jeff Bodine, Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, and Phil Barkdahl all had to come back in for a stop-and-go, which put them at the rear of the field and cost them a lot of track position. Let's go up pit road to Jackaroo.
Yeah, well, Jerry, another victim of that stop-and-go situation, which was all the drivers were warned about it. There's a white line down in the turns. They can't go up across that line. Davey Allison, who came in and took on right side tires and had great track positioning and would have held on to the lead on the restart, he had to come back down because the NASCAR officials told him he was going to be issued a stop-and-go penalty. So he changed the tires on the left side. So the front runners in our area have all decided to change left sides and right sides, 4 tires all the way around. And Alan Kowicki has come in for his stop-and-go because he violated what is now being called the blend line as well. Now, the problem that he had when he was down here for so long during the caution was they had a miss in the engine, so they changed a couple of the spark plugs and then sent him back out. But the problem lies in the white line down in the corners. That's where the drivers are pulling up behind the pace car, and they're making a track violation.
And that's where we're seeing Alan Kowicki. This time, he's staying down there, and they were told in the drivers' meeting, you got to stay below that white line until you get off of turn 2 and head down the backstretch.
Next time around, we'll be going back to racing. Field between turns 3 and 4, and the leader is Rusty Wallace.
And Bob, what we said at the top of the show, we had seen several cars get lapped, including Bobby Hillen and Larry Pearson, Ben Hess, several others. They got their lap back because the leaders went into the pits. They came on down across that start-finish line and got a lap back.
Rusty Wallace leads him down to the line. We saw the bumper cam there just momentarily, looking back on the second place car of Darrell Waltrip. They moved through the tri-oval. Now remember, they're not yet to the line. It's located way down toward turn number 1. There it is. And the green flag flies, and we are now back to racing as we look at the bumper cam from Rusty Wallace's car.
Look at the start that Darrell Waltrip got on the restart. Has the lead easily coming off the second corner. Rusty in second place and Schrader in third.
He just motored right around Rusty Wallace when the green came out. Now we're seeing some jockeying for position as they go down the backstretch. 2 and 3 wide as Schrader moves to second in the Lumina. And a 3 abreast race. And there's the bumper cam now looking back on Harry Gant.
See Schrader down on the inside of him. Here comes A.J. Foyt up on the outside.
Ernie Irvin there, so is Hut Strickland in car 57. Oh, look at how close they come out there.
Man, oh man, what great shots this is.
Well, inches.
It is very, very close. Of course, he knows he needs to be that close to do an effective job of drafting because Darrell Waltrip, Ken Schrader, and Morgan Shepherd are about to get away from him.
Just an unbelievable picture from that bumper cam. Look at how crisp and clear that picture is. And look how close he gets.
He's going to bump him. Don't knock our camera out, AJ.
Unbelievable.
Well, he backed off. He must have heard me. He said, okay, I don't want to mess up that camera.
But you know something, you're right. The first 3 cars look like they might be able to. AJ once again pulling it right on the back of Rusty Wallace. Oh, look on the outside, on the inside. Oh, man.
At speeds probably close to, if not a little over 190 miles an hour. 3 cars, meanwhile, seem to be breaking away from the lead draft. There they are.
Yeah, they had pulled farther away than they are right now. You see that second group of cars coming on now. They were farther ahead, but that good drafting that A.J. Foyt is doing on Rusty Wallace is helping them to catch these 3 cars, which Ken Schrader now is in the lead, Morgan Shepherd second, and Darrell Waltrip third.
There are still 34 cars on the lead lap with 44 laps gone.
And about a half a dozen of those had gone a lap down, but as we mentioned, got a lap back during that caution period.
And now we are indeed seeing Rusty Wallace and A.J. Foyt and the others moving up, closing in. There's Michael Waltrip, also Harry Gant. This is the second pack. That's Gant, Waltrip, Brett Bodine, Neil Bonnet also in that group, Davey Allison.
Davey Allison, as was mentioned, was one of those drivers that had the stop-and-go penalty, so he was all the way at the back. He was in the front when he went into the pits. But that little miscue coming out, or just forgot the rule that they were very vivid about in the drivers' meeting. They were very emphatic about that, said we will penalize you. So we've seen that they will.
Well, there have been many violations of that rule on the racetracks that we have televised from this year. NASCAR taking a strong stand about the cars blending into traffic after they exit the pits.
Well, we were standing here watching practice from our booth yesterday afternoon, and we saw a couple of cars come out of the pits at slow speeds and went up into the lower groove right where they're going into turn 1 there now. And there were some cars that were up to full speed came around, and they almost had a wreck. And NASCAR pointed that out to them and said, we will not have any of that today in the race.
5 cars now are in the lead draft. Ken Schrader, Morgan Shepherd, Darrell Waltrip, then A.J. Foyt. In 4th, and the 5th place car is Terry Labonte. Aerodynamically speaking, drag means less speed but more stability. Drag regulated by the rear spoiler on a Winston Cup car, explained in this track fact.
NASCAR came up with a new rule at Daytona this year regarding the rear deck spoiler. A lot of the cars were qualifying with the spoiler straight back, and even some were trying to race with maybe 5 or 10 degrees of spoiler angle. Now what that does, when you lay that spoiler down like that, it gives the car a lot of straightaway speed, but it makes it very unstable in the turns. There's no down pressure on the rear tires, causing the cars to try and slide the rear end. So NASCAR came up with a rule requiring a minimum of 20 degrees of spoiler angle. Now that's for safety, really, because there was a lot of accidents and a lot of spin-outs in practice and qualifying at Daytona. But you'll see some of the cars on some of the shorter tracks racing with as much as 40, 50, and 60 degrees of spoiler angle, depending on how much rear downforce they need on their rear tires.
A new restrictor plate, a new spoiler reel, and the new Lumina, all in action here at the Winston 500 in Talladega.